Hello, beautiful souls. This is Tara Love Perry here, your soul reader and soul guide, and welcome to Food for the Soul. God, I know I should tell you the date and I can't remember. 15th of July? Anyway, today I'm really inspired, and it's been moving me all week to talk to you about the relationship between meditation and healing. The relationship between what we experience on a very deep internal level and how we then bring that out into the world and express that into the world, or how we're affected by what happens out here that might stop us from being able to go in here. There's a whole correlation between the inner and outer realities, like your day to day. And so this is quite kind of deep, so I'm hoping that you're going to stay with me for that one. And also at the end of this video, I'm going to make you a free offer, a free gift, in fact, to join me for a healing webinar. It's absolutely free. And for an hour to an hour and a half, I'm going to take you on a healing journey with I Love You Me Healing. So if you're interested in loving yourself some more, listen to the end and I'll make that invitation. So let me explain what I'm trying to say to you today by telling you my own story a little bit. I grew up in a community of devotees, and all of these devotees were students and lovers of a teacher called Guru Maharaji. He's also known now as Prem Rawat. And this guru travels around the world constantly. He's been doing it for so long. All of my lifetime, in fact. He first came to London in 1971 and I was born in 73. So my parents were devotees like before I was conceived. And in fact, I was actually conceived whilst my parents were working on the ashram for Maharaji to come and have a place to stay in London. So I've been brought up in this very spiritual community of people. Now, it wasn't one of those kind of earth-based communities where we're all living in the same village on the same piece of land. It was a rural community, an urban community. So everybody was living in their own house, but we came together very often and hung out like a huge group of friends. And we went to events together, all the kids got looked after together, and it was really magical. There's a lot of magic in it. And the main teaching was that everything you're looking for is inside of you. And I've come to understand that any teacher or master worth their salt is going to tell you the same message. It's not all about look at me and listen to me. The master points the finger and says what you're needing, what you're looking for is in there. And so it was about being able to be in connection to that absolute truth. These are my words. These are not my master's words. These are, I would call it now, absolute truth, or that unconditional love inside of me, or what is. And my teacher Maharaji used to call it knowledge, a way to access, he still calls it knowledge, a way to access this experience within. So there's my parents and there's the community and all these people in my life practicing this inner experience of meditation, essentially a form of meditation. And there was a lot of, in my community anyway, back there in the 70s and 80s, there was a lot of rejection of the external world, as if it was all Maya, it's all illusion, none of it's real. It's all changeable, it's not real substance, it's all a big illusion what happens out in the world. And that even my body, being in this body, is an illusion. Now, my teacher didn't say that, but that was the kind of spiritual ideology that I grew up around. So I came to understand, I had a very profound connection myself as a child with this sense of light, with this presence of light that I felt was me, and I was, because when you're little you don't have that separation, it just was this light, and I felt absolutely connected to, let's say, God, or to the goldenness of unconditional love, a presence and energy. So as I grew up in this understanding that I can meditate, I can practice I learnt the techniques. I went to Maharaji and I learnt the techniques of how to go inside and practice this particular kind of meditation, which I absolutely loved and found so much value with and still do, because I really enjoy being able to get into that place of, and this is why I believe people meditate, is to get into that place of isness. Some people meditate to try and get rid of their thoughts. Some people meditate on a candle. Some people meditate on a mantra. What I was meditating on was my breath. Now, I don't know if I was getting it right, but that's what I really enjoyed. I enjoyed feeling my breath, and by the presence of my breath, slip into this place of divine peace, of light. And my experience would kind of vary or every time that I practiced, but it was ultimately connecting me to something that I experienced as my truth, the truth, what is, and in a way beyond religion, because there was no God or deity attached. Not even my teacher was attached, so it wasn't like I was meditating on Maraji. It was this experience that's already in me, and I'm tapping into it. And from that comes a great sense of peace and tranquility and love, and sometimes really like what we would say blissed out, a real 70s phrase or 60s phrase. But what I found is when I'm growing up, and I'm in my teens, and then I'm going to college, and I'm going to university, and then I'm out in the world, and I'm working, and then I've got kids, and it's like I really kept running up again to very hard and difficult things in life that didn't seem to be addressed by my meditation. And in fact, it was almost like, I can't deal with life, let me just go in and meditate. Let me just go into that place where everything feels okay, shut the doors, shut the curtains, put the duvet over my head, shut my eyes and just go in. Because that's where I felt safe, that's where I felt connected to something that was true. And when I opened my eyes and I tried to integrate into the world, I felt like I couldn't do it. It all felt alien to me. I didn't feel like I belonged. I didn't feel seen or heard or understood. I didn't know my place in the world. I didn't know how to belong. I felt like a complete outsider. I felt like a complete weirdo. And I know now how common this is. Back then in my teens, I didn't know how common it was. Now I see it everywhere. And now I get also, obviously, a lot of clients coming with the same problems. So I thought that if I just kept meditating, all my problems are going to go away. And they didn't. And you could say, okay, maybe I wasn't meditating right, or maybe I should have done a different meditation. You might say that. But for me, I didn't feel like I was searching for truth anymore. I wasn't looking for another option, another way of meditating, because that need felt met. I know who I am in here. My ego self, my identity in the world, didn't have much of a foundation, didn't have much strength. It was very, very weak. And I felt like a little feather just getting blown around all over the place, and I could not cope. Because mostly, what I really later came to understand is mostly I'm still in spirit. And I hadn't really come into my body. I hadn't really accepted my body as being a reality. And I certainly hadn't accepted that this world, the way it is a reality. I kept thinking it would magically change. Like one day there would be no money, and so I wouldn't have to think about earning money. And, just these crazy, very naive things that I think about now. But that was real for me. I couldn't relate to this level of reality. So what I see is that, so a lot of my clients, they have this inability to adjust to the same thing. So I'm very lucky I had that knowledge, that know-how to turn within and connect to my deep, deep self from the day I was born, and grew up doing that. So I'm very lucky. I always had that. And what I see is people that kind of are a little bit stuck and don't have either. Not being able to fully integrate into the world, not knowing how they belong, where they belong, who they are. Am I just my ego? Am I what I think I am? But then a lot of the time the mind beats us up, so we can have a very negative ego. Even if we have a good, strong, positive ego on one hand, the mind is very dualistic. We will also have another very, very critical, very, very judgmental aspect of us that's beating us up. So that positive and negative is always at play. And that reality constantly changes. So if we look at the world situation now, as usual, not a lot of peace happening. As usual, a real lack of something solid, something reliable, something unchanging, and something that is a presence of love. That's in every human being. That possibility is within every human being, but actually it manifested into the world that we can see it and we can feel it and it's tangible and we feel safe in the world. and we feel like we belong, and we feel seen and heard and loved and capable and secure, and all of these things. It's like I'm seeing thousands of people, and maybe millions, feeling such an extreme sense of insecurity right now. And I think this has been the case for a really long time on this planet. It's not a new thing. We can look back into history and go, well, when was there a time when there was peace? When was there a time when the world was full of love? And it wasn't, trying to be dominated by one person or a group of people at any period of time, creating instability. When was there a race of beings that were absolutely enlightened on an inner level and also fully capable on an outer level? When did that happen? So I don't know of a time that actually happened. Maybe this is a time when we have this opportunity to marry both of those worlds, that inner and that outer. So I find stability within when I meditate. I didn't used to find stability on the outside in life. So I searched for a method. In fact, I asked, because I was really freaking out, and I asked. And what came through was something that I now call I Love You, Me Healing. It's very similar to Ho'oponopono, actually, which I later discovered. But I was listening to Spirit. I was listening, being guided by my angels at the time when I was developing my soul reading abilities and crafting my skill. So I was tapping in and listening, and absolutely guided how to use certain words like forgiveness and sorry, what these mean, how to use them. And using this as a means of healing and clearing all of the confusion in my mind, all of the parts of me that didn't feel stable and secure. Because I could keep projecting it and saying, well, it's the world has to change, and when the world changes, I'll feel better. But I could be waiting a really, really long time for that world to change, and it might never change. So I had to really ask myself, do I want to wait until the world changes, or people change and treat me differently, or behave differently, the government changes, or the monetary system changes, or do I want to, am I going to wait for somebody else to do it all for me? Or am I going to start taking action for myself? Am I going to change what's happening inside of me, change my relationship to everything, change my relationship to the world? So I decided that it was a better deal. I would have better odds of taking care of it myself, because the world might never change. It might always be like this. So I realized that aside to my meditation, which was one thing, I also had to address my external self, my ego, my mind, and somehow align that with this inner experience, my true self, my true essence, who I really am, my authentic self, like that primary vibration. And then be able to correlate this Tara, personality, identity, me, this body, my life, what I have now as an individual being, and correlate that with my what already is experience. So it wasn't separate anymore. Does that make sense? So I found this way to bring consciousness to the external things. Consciousness to how I relate to external things would be more accurate, actually. Finding a way to bring healing and to get that alignment and to get that integration. And I really believe, and I can only go on my experience so far personally for me and what I've seen with others, but I believe that both are needed. I believe that having some form of meditation, some form of connecting in whatever your way is, to connect in and just go inside and take all of your attention and just plug it into something that is absolute, something that is unchanging, something that is just that power, where duality doesn't exist. Because I find if I want real stability, that I need that. Something unchanging, and I recommend that everybody finds that way. So I teach my version of that, Maraji teaches his version. There are any number of incredible teachers on this planet, more and more it seems every day, as people are awakening to their own mastery, to the guru within, to the God within, to the goddess within. That's the potential part of us, and there's many, many beautiful teachers teaching that. So find your way that works for you. And I also recommend that you find a way, so you're kind of sandwiching yourself, so you've got it from both sides. Find something on the outside in this external world, a way of being seen, of being heard, a way of expressing, a way of acknowledging, a way of belonging, a way of getting your needs met, a way of reintegrating or realigning the way that you perceive your thoughts, the meanings that you put on things, your relationship really, realigning and healing your relationship with yourself and the world, and all of your thoughts and beliefs that go with that, because it's really, really powerful. So the method that I use, like I said, is called I Love You Me. I could say it's actually developed by me with my colleagues in the angel department. So what I want to do, this has been really important to me. I've been really, really thinking about it and how important I really believe it is to give everybody that opportunity, to give you that opportunity to go, look, have you got your meditation, your stillness practice in place? Have you got your healing modality in place, or your cleaning? Because really, I don't know about the word healing. Sometimes I don't always agree with it, because you're already perfect. You're already incredible. It's just that you maybe don't realize, or you're not quite sure how to play yourself in the world, like what the rules are, how do you do it, who are you, all of those things. So it's a polishing, it's a cleaning, it's a wiping away the dirt and being able to recalibrate yourself. And so I have a method, and I would love to share that with you so much. And I do this quite selfishly, because personally I really want to live in a world where I'm surrounded by people in peace. I want to live in a world where I'm surrounded by people in joy, who are happy with their lives, who are elated, not just happy, but elated about this opportunity to be a human being on the planet at this time. I want to live in a world where people are absolutely enthralled and enlightened by the love that they are and the love that they can bring to others. And I want to live in a world where I'm surrounded by people who are bringing their best, who are really shining, who aren't in doubt and self-confusion and in hesitation and beating themselves up and critical and judgmental and scared and hiding and suppressed and all those other things and impoverished and poor. I want to live in a world where I am surrounded by expanding, expansive beings, really embracing their greatest potential. At least in that journey, I don't know if there is a top ceiling of what your potential is. I think it's an always expanding forever thing, but at least being in that experience. For me, that's the kind of company I like to keep. That's what I choose for myself. And if I can do something to get my own wish come true, to have this world of peace and love, I'm going to do everything I can really selfishly to make sure that to see if I can make that happen. What a challenge. How would it be in my lifetime to at least be able to see, the difference is happening all the time since I was a child. Nobody used to meditate. Nobody was vegetarian, Nobody went to, very few people went to see gurus when I was growing up. I was the absolute weirdo. And now everybody meditates and does yoga. It's so normal. So much has changed during my lifetime already, and I'm so up for seeing what else can happen, how much more we can grow and expand into our consciousness and realize more of who we are on both that external reality in this very physical, earthly, human dimension, and also in that, in that internal way as well, collaborating, putting both sides together so that there is just one us. We're fully integrated. It's a lot of words. I hope that makes sense. I hope that you get the essence of what I'm talking about. So I have this offer. My selfish wish is to give you a free webinar. Now, of course, this free webinar is going to lead on to a series of 6 webinars, but the free one is the first, get a taster. And I'm going to do a healing journey for an hour and a half, And I was going to call it the will to live, because a lot of people don't have the will to live, and I really want to support people with that, like get you out of that pit as much as possible. But I decided that sounded a little bit, ominous. So I've decided to call it the will to thrive. So if you have a will to thrive and you'd like some support and you'd like to do some healing, particularly around the victim consciousness or the poor me or the feeling stuck, I don't know how, or just feeling like depressed, not able to really be empowered. If you're feeling pretty helpless and scared right now, and even if you're not feeling those things, but you're curious, what does she do? What happens? What does I Love You Me healing look like? What happens in there? So I invite you to click the link and hop on to this free webinar and get a real good bathing in self-love. And then if you like it, you can hop on and join the 6 following weekly webinars where I'll take you through that healing journey. And it's really not expensive. I think I've put it at a really affordable price so that as many people as possible can do it, so I can have my dream come true. So I hope that's food for your soul today. And the takeaway message of this, both. Find your meditation, find that isness, that what is, the amness of you. Who am I? What am I? It's a presence. So however you manage to drop in and find that, connect to it, find a meditation practice and love yourself enough to practice that every day. And find a modality. If you don't like mine, fine, choose another one. If you're curious about mine, come and find out more. But find a modality that helps you clean, that helps you clear, that helps you align. A very practical tool in life to help keep you straight and to use on, like I Love You Me healing works on everything. It doesn't matter if we're talking beliefs or emotions or physical ailments or spiritual past life retrieval, whatever, it doesn't really matter. It works. So just find some kind of healing modality that works for you and practice both as your act of self-love so that you are thriving. Have not just a life, but a thriving life. Okay? Choose what you need to choose to thrive. And if you want some support, press the button below, hook up for my webinar, and I will see you in there. So I love you, so much love to you. Have a wonderful day.